This looks like a mess. All right, so here's all my sticky parts removed. As you can see, they are just disgusting. Hey guys, welcome back to Exotic Car DIY. So this is going to be part 2 and part 3 of the interior because we're going to finish this because I want to get my shop back. So I'm going to be addressing two things in this video. One is the dash vents and the other one is going to be the sticky parts. So those are two huge common failures in the 430s. The dash vents crack because the leather shrinks and it breaks those plastic dashes. And the problem with that is it's such a small, insignificant part, but you have to remove the entire dash to get them out. The other alternative is remove the windshield, but I'm not touching that. To be honest, initially I was pretty intimidated by this job, even more intimidated than removing the motor on the 355. But just like the 355, I can confidently say this after doing it, it is an easy job just with a lot of steps. Does that makes sense? So I'm going to give you a couple tips here in a minute. The other thing we're going to be addressing is the sticky issue. So every Ferrari has this issue. The buttons all turn sticky. So we're going to take those out, get them fixed, and put them back in there. So I was initially going to make an entire dash removal how-to, but there's actually already a very good one out there. And I'll link it in the description. And you can literally see in the video, I am watching that video. It is that good. But one thing it doesn't cover is actually how to do the vents. So that's what I'm going to be covering more in this video. So just a couple quick pointers. You got to stay very organized. Keep track of where your bolts are. Most of them, I just put the bolt right back into the place where it came out so I didn't lose it. The other huge thing I would say is take pictures of all the wire routing, all the connectors, and everything you take off. Because as you go through this, you're going to want to reference those pictures as you put them back on there. Like I said, while it may look intimidating, it's really just a bunch of little steps. All right, so here's all my sticky parts removed. As you can see, they are just disgusting. You touch them, you just get black stuff all over you. They are really sticky and gross. Luckily, it wasn't that bad. I didn't have to get any of the big ones done, like the dash, you know, the AC panel or stuff like that. So anyway, I'm gonna send these off to my friend Dave at Sticky RX. He is pretty much known as the best refinisher. Can't wait to see what these look like when we get them back. All right, guys, so let me tell you where I'm at with the 430. You've done like an entire week treatment of leatherique rejuvenator, and I love this stuff, but you gotta like leave it on there a long time. So let me show you what I got on in my incredibly dirty shop. The dash is out. I've already done this with leatherique. The leather on here is just absolutely perfect. Love it. All right, so over here we have the top of the dash near the windshield, and excuse all the stuff going on. I have literally 100 things going on, and I have Ferrari parts from the interior everywhere. So anyway, what had happened on here, what happens with most of these cars, the sun gets really hot here and it shrinks the leather. When it shrinks the leather, these things that normally are right here break, and they break off. You can replace them, but you know, you're at the mercy of them breaking again just because they're simple rivets. There is a guy on the forums that makes these aluminum ones. And the whole idea is that you can bolt them in there. When I first got this out, the leather was so firm that there was no way you could stretch it. So what I've done is after a whole week of leatherique, you can literally now everywhere stretch this stuff. You can actually see it move. Now that the leather is pliable and movable, we're going to install these metal brackets. So anyway, here are the aluminum pieces, and they're a much better option than these plastic ones that are going to break again. However, they're just slightly, the holes are just slightly off, and unfortunately they're the only options that I know of to replace these. So what I've had to do, and I already did on this one, is I had to kind of round out the holes or ovulate them just slightly to the inside this way and inside that way to make this one fit. And now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with this side. So literally all that entails is I have a circle punch here. I'm just kind of, so I'm going to go ahead and clean these up. I should be able to put these on. All right, so now we've got all our bolts started, so I'm going to slowly start kind of pulling the leather back in the exact place we want it, and then tighten them down, and it should be all good. If we tried to tighten this down before I used the leatherique, it would have guaranteed torn something or ripped it off, because it still held extremely well in over here and back over here. It was just kind of pulled up through here. All right, now just to glue the foam back on and the little bit of leather that we've now pulled through, we're just going to put a little contact cement on here. and then 15 minutes later we're just going to roll it over, and that should secure it pretty well. So I kind of peeked underneath there. I do not find any evidence that Ferrari actually glued the leather in the center. It seems like they glued it on the edges, and literally it was free in the middle. So I could be wrong. Maybe the glue just completely disappeared. I couldn't find any foam or anything like that, but all right, so finally I was able to clean up my shop a little bit. Anyway, the dash is almost ready to go back in, and all the parts are about to go in. I'm so excited to actually get this done. But the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get this windshield actually tinted. So if you have one of these, you put your hand on the dash, I mean, it gets searing hot, like over 200 degrees easily. So I want to get it tinted, but like I said, I don't want it dark. So what do? So they actually make, Lumar makes a line of tint called Stratos. I was watching YouTube videos. They had these heat cards. Basically, like they would shine a heat lamp on it. The card would start at 70 after 20 seconds of exposure. It got up to like 78 or something like that with the Stratos. And with 5% limo tint, it go to 150 degrees. So the Stratos, you won't be able to notice anything, but it will actually keep the dash completely cool. So the guys from Top Notch Tinting actually came out to my house and tinted the windshield while the dash was out. They did a phenomenal job. If you guys are in the Jacksonville area, I highly recommend using them. Okay guys, so it is finally time to start getting the 430 back together, at least from its interior restoration, I guess you want to call it. So I got the dash here sitting behind me. It's been repaired with the new vents, and the leather's all back together. The car has its window tinted, leatherique's done, new headliner. So now it's time to get this all back together. Leather looks good, and so you can come in here. Oh, this looks like a mess. So now the dash going back in. This is where all those pictures I told you to take earlier really come in handy, because you're going to reference those to make sure you get the right wire loom on top of the other wire loom. But either way, it really is an easy job, guys, just with a lot of steps. So don't be scared, you can do it. Now we can just slip all these panels back in. All right, I guess, what is this, 3 more panels to go. This roof panel, this would actually be really hard to do if you had both seats in here, because it's hard enough to do just with one seat in here. 2, 3. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Take the nut back off. Should be it. All right guys, so finally, after what seems like a little over a month now, we finally finished the interior restoration on the 430. So I got the little box right there today. That is the rest of the sticky parts, because you might notice that it's missing the door handles and it's missing the stuff in the center console right now. But everything else looks perfect in here. The leather's been conditioned, the windshield's tinted, the dash vents are fixed, the carpet's been done, everything's been perfect. And so I'm gonna go ahead and open up this box, and we're gonna put these in and take it for its first drive. So I'm hoping it's packed well, because UPS left a nice little ding there. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this opened up. Oh nice, so got our parking sensor switch, inner door bezels, like the mirror control, ashtray, other inner doors, pull brackets, and then something else. Let's go ahead and check this out. Sweet, all right, check it out. So we got some wheel mounting tools. These make it really easy to mount your wheels. Oh, dang. All right, guys, so check that out. This is why you go with the Sticky RX, because like if you order this from the factory, it actually can come out of the box brand new, sticky. And so when you get it refinished, it's gonna be like this for a lifetime. So, I mean, that just looks gorgeous right there. All right, guys, so now we got a brand new ashtray. Look at that. I like that, it just feels great. Then we got the inner door releases. So these, remember, these were like the worst parts in my car by far. All right, so check out those locks. So the laser etching looks perfect. It's so much better than having a sticker there. They're even finished on the inside. So these are so much better. Like on the other ones, I couldn't even touch them. You get black goo all over your hands. So those are going to look amazing. Now we got our door pull pockets. So the cool thing about having everything done is now you have one uniform look. If you mix and match it with your own paint job versus the Sticky RX versus, you know, like the maybe a new stock part, they're all going to look a little different. So everything now looks the same in my car. All right, guys, and so here we got the parking button all done. You can see that laser etching on there. It's just perfect. All right, so it is time to get this stuff into the car. All right, so we have our ashtray and then our mirror control. I'm like handling these super delicate, but if you watch the videos on Dave's site, he like rubs these with sandpaper or I don't know, screwdrivers and chemicals, and they all hold up, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So either way, we'll still treat them nice. All the harnesses are down here. So if you look at, prongs are all the same, but there's a little thing here. This one looks like a T that goes that way. There's a diagonal T. So if you look at the switch, you can actually see there's the one with the diagonal and there's the one with the straights. And then we can just slide our mirror control in there. It's just held in by metal springs, so it should just kind of push into place. Perfect. All right, here we are over at the door panel. So again, I have my hardware in the door, so I never lost it. So we need to take that out real quick. All right, so now we have to install this. So the tricky part is there's this little L-shaped or S-shaped piece right here. You got to get that to go through this hole, and it's kind of tricky, and there's some goo still on that guy. So anyway, I've been messing with this for a while. Hopefully we'll get it this time. All right, so now we've got that attached. So now we're just going to shove this harness through that hole, and then we got to hook it up down below. Mine was actually on this shaft right here and then plugged into this plug right here. All I have to do is hook that up and then we can put the door panel back on. All right, and then before we put the rest of the trim in, we got to get this screw in here without dropping it inside the door. All right, let's finish this up. So lift this guy up, gently slide him in. Lift up your door pull and just shove this kind of in there, and that'll give you access to the screw so we can attach it. Okay, so we've got almost finished door pocket now. Stickies are refinished. We just now have to do some of the details like the screws around the edges and this mirror trim.